Wow. September 6th, 2024. Good to see everybody. We're here with Miss Katharyn Davis. I'm John Lee, St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association. And we got some new things, new developments. I'll let Kathy talk about that. Yeah, as far as that goes, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, everybody, how are you doing? I hope you're getting ready to enjoy some beautiful weather this weekend, because I hear it's going to be really nice. And my big update for today, we've talked a little bit about this before, I think, but we now have good news on the squatter bill. The squatter bill got passed by the legislature kind of quickly, and apparently it kind of got passed twice, because I guess there was a lot of hoopla down in the legislature this past year. But there was a state rep who really wanted to get it done. The governor signed it into law, and it went into effect August 28th. I've sent John, and I'm sure he's going to post these for you, sample squatter eviction forms that I got from the city. The city has already had at least 4 cases commenced against squatters. We've had to kind of review for the sheriff what they have to do and that kind of thing. It's typical with a new statute that you're going to have, everybody has a little bit of a learning curve. But in this case, the judges were really on top of it. I talked to them right after the governor signed it in July, and everybody was aware that this was coming down the pike. And, since 4 is a lot in the first week of a law, and to have that many, I feel like there really was a need for this to happen. I don't have any stats for the county because we have more judges and it's more diffuse, but I'm told that they have the forms too on their website. I can get them for anybody who needs them, or we're prepared, to proceed if you need us to. When you look through those forms, you'll see kind of what you're going to be required to prove. The big sticking point is the 3-month requirement of not having the property rented to anybody within the last 3 months. And this is kind of a problem, and we're hoping, and maybe I can talk to Dave Soto later about some help with this. We're hoping to get that tweaked in the upcoming legislative season, because we don't think that you should have to wait 3 months to get a squatter out, have the property not be leased within those 3 months. I understand that they don't want you to use this very expedited statute to evict tenants. You can't do that. There's penalties in the statute that will not go well for you. But the person, who breaks in and just starts living there, we should be able to use it for that. I don't think you should have to wait 3 months. So we've had the first, Judge Woodiest has had the first initial hearings where she's ordered that the person be put out. And then there's a follow-up hearing 10, 11 days later, and she's just going to be getting ready to have the first couple ones of those next week. So we'll see how those all go. And I'll say again, there's statutory penalties if you're using this to evict a tenant or a former tenant. This has to be, the stranger that breaks in, the unhoused person, or, whatever. This has to be that situation, not another way to evict a former tenant. And it's going to go fast. It's going to go super fast. And so this takes us away from the difficult situation where, you got some guy that's waiving a lease and claiming he's leasing the place, and some other person who says, no, I'm the owner and I didn't put them in there. And the police can't really decide that on the sidewalk. So this gives the police some cover where they can get a court order, saying that the person has to be put out. So I think it's going to be helpful to everyone. Glad to see we got it done. And I'm ready to take questions on it, although I don't have a lot of answers, complicated answers yet, because we haven't really seen anything through to its second hearing yet. But I'm optimistic that we're good to go on it in at least the city and the county, which I think is probably where most of the volume of problems are. Okay, I have one other piece of good news for those of you who use us or use people who are in our bulk filing division in the county. We are keeping our new judge, Judge Chastity Dillon Elmalong, who we got this summer as a brand new judge. She's doing great, and we're keeping her for the next 2 years. Yes, we really like her, so we're glad to have that security in place. Christine's blood pressure will be a lot better. it wasn't good when we were having to move from judge to judge. They've had a lot of turnover in judges. A lot of judges have gotten promoted. A lot of judges have retired. So it's been kind of a moving target in some of our counties. And St. Louis County was the most difficult one. There was a lot going on. But now we've all seemed to settle. There's still some judges turning over. And as some of you know, I'm on the Judicial Performance Review Committee for the Missouri Bar, and my committee reviews surveys from lawyers, surveys from jurors, and opinions and written work submitted by the judges that are on the ballot every year. And I don't have the final word yet, but I'm pretty certain that we're going to recommend all the judges on the ballot this year be retained. Now, there are certainly judges who I don't always agree with or don't always rule my way, although really most of the time I win, right? But they're still good judges, and it's very disruptive to have judges voted out and have new ones come on. Going through the appointment process is lengthy. So I would encourage you all to support all the judges on your ballot this year. Anybody else have any questions? Comments?
Well, thank you very much for the squatter forms. If anybody wants those before we get them on the
It's
website.
hot off the presses. You guys are like my first group that I've given this to. So yeah.
Yeah, the email was literally like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, sorry it was so late, but
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. And I just was at this women lawyers party last night where the judge was telling me about the first couple ones she heard. And I was like, oh, I got to let the investors know that, because they're going to be happy to have these forms. I really didn't think we were going to get the forms this soon. I thought they were going to make me do them. And I kind of talked to them about it, but I hadn't gotten around to it at all yet. So I'm glad they got it done. Yeah.
Well, that's great. And you said these are for St. Louis City, and then the county ones will
have the same thing. They're up on the website, I think, although I haven't seen them, but I heard that. But I'll get them for anybody who needs them.
Thank you. That's perfect. Yeah, excellent.
Okay. Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Kathy. We appreciate seeing you as always.
Have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Thanks. All right, so I'll put my email address in the chat there. So anybody that wants the farm before they get up on the website. And as you know, I put the replay up on YouTube, but they don't always get it up before the weekend. So if anything that you need, you can always reach out to me, and I'll get that out to you. So always glad to see Kathy.
I have a quick question.
Sure, Linda.
I was just a little late joining. Was Kathy specifically talking about getting rid of squatters or evictions in general?
This was for squatters. This is the form that just came out. Like you said, it's hot off the press. She just sent it to us because she just got it. But for evictions, they do regular evictions too.
Okay.
City, county, and then for multiple counties.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, that was a daddy long legs that just walked across my foot.
Okay, let's see. Anybody have anything they're buying or selling today?
You want me to do the disclaimer first?
Yeah, we could do that. Sure. Let's do
Alrighty.
that.
Good morning and welcome, everyone. First, I'd like to do a bit of housekeeping, along with sweeping up the daddy long legs. Feel free to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. Please be mindful of everyone else by muting yourself while others are speaking. You're welcome to put any contact information that you want to share into the chat. We meet here to share deals, look for deals and solutions we have in need with our real estate. We are not your financial advisors, attorney, or accountants. We do not endorse or recommend any specific solutions or contractors here. You're advised to do your own due diligence to your own satisfaction before you invest. The first Friday of each month is Ask the Attorney with Ms. Katharyn Davis. Our meetings are typically recorded, so only share what you want others to know.
Thank you, Laura. Okay, yeah, I guess I got a couple of announcements. I don't have too much today. Again, if you do want a squatters farm that she just sent for the St. Louis City, go ahead and send me an email. I just dropped that in the chat. Just a couple things on some upcoming events. Our main event on September 17th is going to be cost segregation. They're actually flying in from Utah. This is a national group, and they Cost Segregation Authority is the name of their company, and they show us some kind of unique things that we can do with our taxes. I know a lot of us, well, being investors, we all have to keep that in up. You know, it's always a major concern, but they have some things that you may not be aware of, and that I know I wasn't aware of. So, but things you can do and that we all do anyway. So they're coming in. If you happen to be a CPA or you want to invite your CPA, they do offer the continuing education credits. So I know a lot of us that aren't licensed, we don't get the credits, but we get the knowledge. So this will be a really good event. Then the following month we got the David Randolph. I see David up there. He joined us. Good to see you. He's going to be talking about a short story in short sales. So we're happy to have him. We haven't had him in a couple of years now. It's been a few years, I think, since we came back. Back in person. So we're happy to have David. Other than that, I don't really have much. Kathy, you kind of filled us in on what's going on there. I know a lot of the stuff just went into effect what did she say? August 28th. Also the chickens in the HOAs. So you can have your chickens now, and they can't prevent you from doing that. And I don't know why that was such a big deal, but it is. So if you decide you want chickens now, roosters, I think, are still banned, but I think you can have your chickens if you want to do that in your HOAs now, and they can't prevent it. I wonder how that would work though in our condominiums. I still don't think they'll let us have chickens out there, but I don't know. I don't think we're going to try it. I know we got a lot of neighbors around here that have chickens, but I personally don't want chickens because everything likes chickens. The raccoons, the snakes like their eggs, the neighbor dogs, everything likes chicken. So I personally don't want any, but anyway, so let's see. We had our disclaimer. David's, yeah, been 5 years. Has it been that long? Yeah, it's been a while. I know that. So time flies, doesn't it? Yeah, and you can have your chickens, yeah, but you can't eat it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about slaughtering your chickens either. That's I know my grandpa used to do that when I was a kid, and that was after I watched that when I was about 12 years old. I didn't eat chicken until I was over 25 years old. It just I don't know. It just wasn't the same because the chicken he killed was the ones we were feeding green beans to this morning in the morning because it was one of our pets, I thought. And just was like the dog. I don't know. I didn't eat it, but chickens are good. I love to eat chickens. So anyway, like I said, I don't really have anything else today. Beautiful day. We're coming up on Q4. So in a couple weeks. So hopefully you've got all your goals or at least all your plans completed or at least close to it. By the end of the month, we're starting the last quarter of the year. So if you haven't, you want to gear up now and focus on some things. So, all right, that's about all I have. Anybody have anything that I guess we'll start buying or selling today?
Hey, I got something sort of related to that. I'm looking to possibly buy my first 4-family building. And since it's my first one, I'm kind of looking for somebody to help me go over the numbers and make sure it makes sense. So I was kind of seeing if I could pay anybody on here who's like an experienced multifamily investor to kind of just take a look at it, somebody who's not involved in the transaction, just kind of impartial. So I'll put my phone number and email in the chat if anybody wants to reach out.
Okay, Reed. Anybody have anything they would like to say on that? I know numbers, the multifamilies are interesting. Dave Soto, you probably have something to say on that. I know you guys manage some. Do you have anything you would like to say?
Well, I don't know that we can help. It's not our, we manage them, and as far as playing with the numbers, we don't do a whole lot of that. We just monitor the numbers and make sure that everything's recorded correctly. So it's, I've got a spreadsheet. I'm sure everybody does on how to analyze it. So that's the best you can do. And there's plenty out there that you can do to run analysis. That's the best advice I can give is find yourself a spreadsheet or tool that'll run analysis. I'm sure David has something.
Gotcha. Thank you.
It looks like David put in a recommendation of who could call. Reed Gleason.
Yeah, there you go. James Gleason, 636-734-1110. And you've lent him money for a 17 unit. Yeah, what were you saying, Ray? That's a 4 unit. Now you won't be living there, will you?
I might be, yeah.
Okay.
That's definitely a possibility.
Okay, one thing I would say, if you do live there, you may want to act like you work for the company and don't necessarily own the building, because my prior experience, I have never lived there, but I've watched people do it, and they'll come to you for every little thing and try to get you to slide on stuff. And just I mean, one of the things that I learned many years ago, and I do that with all of my properties, is I don't necessarily own them, but my company does, and I work for the company. That kind of gives you a way out when they're trying to, maybe don't want to say pull one over on you, but a lot of them like to pull one over on you. So that's just something to be aware of. And I don't know if anybody else has anything on that, but that's just my experience. But I would definitely call James Gleason and see what he has to say too, because 17 units, that's quite a bit.
And
Yeah, for sure, I will.
did Reed say his information out loud as well?
Yeah, I can. My phone is 618-444-3044, and my email is my full name, so readlinksfair@gmail.com.
Thank you. And thank you, Laura, for bringing that up. Yeah, for the replays, they don't get a copy of the chat, and the chats kind of disappear anyway. So, after they're gone, I know a lot of times people will send me private ones or they do back and forth, but they just completely disappear. So it's always good to say stuff orally or verbally, and that way it's on there. So, all right, John Collins, you're looking for a plumber. You want to unmute yourself and tell us what you're looking for?
Hi, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm rehabbing a house and I'm looking for a plumber to change out the stack. Also looking for someone that might know someone that refinishes hardwood. And also I got a window that's probably going to need to be changed out, like a double hung window. The house is in Florissant and my number is 314-324-7621. If anybody has any referrals. Thanks.
Thank you, John. And yeah, I see you put it in the chat. Anybody have any referrals or any recommendations maybe for John there?
I'm putting a plumber referral in the chat now.
Okay, and thank you, Linda. Can you also say that verbally for us?
Yes, his name is Darryl, Darryl. Last name Robinson, Robinson. His phone number is 314-629-9290.
9290. Okay. Darryl Robinson.
Yes, and I've used him a lot.
Oh, great. Okay.
Thank you.
There you go,
You're
John.
welcome.
Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
That's a good one to jot down too, because you never need a plumber until you need one.
Right.
And if you've used them a few times, that's putting out a good word there.
Oh yeah, he stays very busy, so you might have to wait, but he's worth the wait.
Well, the best people usually are busy.
Yeah, that's true.
Very nice. Plumber, some of the trades too, that's something you don't see as much of as we used to. People don't get out there. The kids getting out of school, they don't really go to trade schools as much. I know one of the groups I'm in, they're working working on building some trade schools right now and consolidating some stuff, because they're just, it's all across the country. Plumbers, electricians, just some of the trades that we use all the time, especially for investment properties. There's not as many as there used to be. So that's a good referral to have. All right. Anybody else got anything anything they're looking for? See if I missed anything. Well, David, you're coming up with in October. That's not too far off. You want to say anything about the short sales, your short story and short sales that you'll be talking about?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, things have changed so much in this economy with the inflation, and we already had the backlog of 2 million delinquent loans from the CARES Act, pandemic, COVID. You remember that thing, and even kind of scare more people on here, PPP. Remember that crazy time? And so, we got people that still haven't made their payment, and so those people can't keep doing that forever. Now we've got people. So, John, I've never seen this in 15 years of doing short sales. 20%, if you go to the St. Louis County or St. Louis City, and even others, I got students in 11 states, even across the United States. If you pull up the foreclosure list right now in St. Louis County, 21-day foreclosure list, I'll show you in October the exact website to go to get them. But if you go there and you pull all those people up, 200 people or whatever, 20% of those, okay, 1/5 of those had a mortgage in 2023 and 2022. That's ludicrous. I mean, think about this. Someone loved their house. They bought their house. They got underwritten by an underwriter that says they were qualified for the house. And now in, August or September of 24, they're on the foreclosure list to lose their home. Unbelievable. And so I'll be talking about that in October. I'll be going through the whole process of, really what they are, the way I've been doing them. And there's a lot of things that just really changed. The banks are dumping the houses out there, and it's just crazy. I was just in Virginia Friday of the 3-day weekend. Not a great time to travel. And I go to my student's house to do the appraisal with the bank. So in this coaching I do, I go there and I do the appraisal with them. We just got that back yesterday, the price. This is an FHA short sale, and this is a house on some waterfront property, probably worth about $550,000, $600,000. The appraisal just came back to be able to buy that house for $228,000. Okay. The banks are dumping the houses right now. And so I'll be talking about that also and stuff. And if anybody has questions, email me questions, and I'll answer them in in my presentation and stuff. But it's going to be a really exciting presentation.
Yeah, thank you, David. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because I know a lot of things have changed. How would that, just kind of off the side though, but how would that go with like the squatters? Do you ever run into any squatters like Kathy was talking about?
I mean, there's a problem. There's two problems with it. There's a legal issue and a non-legal issue. So one of them, there's a law. It's federal law. You literally go to jail. Okay, if you were to do a short sale, you're the buyer. I teach you to be the buyer and the negotiator. Okay, you buy the house in a short sale. Okay, now you cannot let the homeowner, the borrower, buy it back from you. You can't rent it to them. They can't stay in the house. Okay, so that's federal law. You literally do go to jail. It's not a regulation or a guideline. It's a law. So you always have to make sure that they are out of the house before closing. So that they're gone. Now, however, in the case of a squatter, technically they're not the borrower. Okay, so they're not the borrower. So can they be in the house when you close? Legally, yes, they can, as far as the short sale goes. So for me, when I bought a house for $29,600 and sold it for $275,000, I would probably still close on that and then deal with the scumbag or the squatter or whatever we want to call them, to get them out, legally, because there's so much profit in that. So I think you can buy it. You just have to go, hey, how much trouble will it be? And man, now that we got this state law, this is like gold. Okay. I mean, this is unbelievable that I'm really proud of Missouri that we have this law to kick these squatters out, because it's been such a crazy nightmare, and stuff like that. So, it's not going to really affect it, other than how to get into the house to do the appraisal. So there's a little bit of that aspect to it. So it would be a kind of a longer discussion, but I think that, we'd find a way to manage it.
Yeah, very interesting as far as that would go. That brings up a few other things, but legally, you're always better doing it legally, and you definitely don't want to go to jail renting the stuff back, because I've seen people talking about that kind of stuff. I'll just rent it back to the person there, and I know that brings up a lot of other problems. One of the things I know Kathy talked about, though, which I hadn't even thought of before, and I wish I would have known this back several years ago. But if you're to like buy a house, now this was specifically for tax sales we were talking about, but if you're to buy a house and the somebody had just moved in or lives there, you could get, if you just go up and talk to them. I know Dale Sweet talked a little bit about that too. Hey, I'm the new owner, and then kind of do it like a tenancy, landlord tenancy relationship, even if it's just verbally, then you actually have a legal leg to stand on. Because you could say, hey, you could live here for nothing, maybe, while I'm the new owner, but you could, we won't charge you nothing the first month, and then next month it'll be $300, and then we'll get to the market rents or whatever that is down the road. And if you actually set up a relationship like that, then you can go into court, even if you don't have a written lease, from what I understand, from what they were talking about. So that's I know we've got that, that coming up next year too, with Scott Walterbach will be coming in town, and there's a lot. I tell you, I can't, I've talked about this several times, but I can't tell you how much I've learned just in that seminar from this year on that kind of stuff. Because if you know these little things like that, you can save yourself a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of grief, because a lot of that stuff is just stuff you want to, you don't want to deal with, but you're forced to a lot of times. So that'd be very interesting, David. I can't wait to hear a little bit more about what's going on here in October.
Yeah, and two, just for everybody else on here, this law, I don't know if you realize or understand how important that this is, this squatter thing, because just the fact that it's there and public gives you a lot of leverage when you go knock on that door. Okay, I mean, look, a lot of times these squatters kind of know what they're doing, right? Okay, and then they probably even have a squatter meetup group, probably. Okay, and they probably get together and figure out how they can squat longer. Well, now when they go to the little squatter meetup group, they're going to be talking about, hey, there's this new law that kicks this out. So when you go knock on the door, they're going to be a lot more amicable to working with you. Okay, because otherwise you can kick them out. And so I think it's a huge law, and I think it's going to make a big difference, for people, especially in the city of St. Louis.
Yeah, I never heard about the meetup group, but there was a guy on TikTok that was doing little videos telling people to come to this country and telling them how they could just move in, and people were actually doing it. So it's there's a lot going on. This is a good thing. Missouri, they're kind of slow in a lot of things, but a lot of the stuff here is kind of like on the leading edge, and I'm really glad to see this. I personally only had the experience with one squatter, and he ended up burning the house down, which is another whole story we won't get into today. But it's still on Channel 4, the little video up there, and then they let him go. St. Louis County courts let the guy go. So I won't get into all the details, but I'm really glad to see what we got going here, and it's really good that we have Kathy coming in every first Friday of every month. In fact, it was kind of interesting. I was just looking last night, and this is our 232nd meeting in a row on Fridays now since we started this. We started April 3rd, which was a Friday, which actually was my dad's birthday in 2020. And that was because of Kathy Davis giving us the updates. That's when all the I guess the COVID pandemic stuff first started, and we quit meeting in live, and we decided to do it on Zoom. And I don't know, the first couple of years we did a lot of meetings besides just Fridays on Zoom too. So we're really happy to have the technology we have today because of some of this stuff. So anyway, that's my little soapbox there. Anybody working on anything else? Anybody have anything they'd like to buy or sell? I know if I talked about a little bit last week. I am on list. I don't know if everybody's on all the wholesaler lists, and a lot of these look like they may be deals. A lot of them do not. If you are wanting to get on any list, let me know, and I'd be happy to hook you up on there. Be careful what you wish for, though, because you'll get a lot of things. I took myself off of the text list, and I only get emails now because I was getting so many And it was just overload pretty much. But there's a lot of good deals. And here's what's interesting to me on some of the wholesaler list is a lot of in fact, most of the people don't live in St. Louis and they don't know the neighborhoods. I've seen some of this stuff that was just, I thought, outrageous on prices, and other ones I thought were way too cheap. So, I guess a lot of the wholesalers, they just look at their bottom line, make a quick 5,000 or 10,000 or whatever it is, which is, I think, a good way to do it, especially when you're fairly new at it. And I don't know, some of these guys have been established, I guess, for a while, but they, I probably get 15, 20 deals a week. And I'd say out of that, probably half of them look like they're pretty good deals. So. So anybody else have anything they'd like to talk about today? Okay, Reed, yeah, I could do that. I'd be happy to put you on that list there. Or I'll just forward to you what I got, and you can sign yourself up. I won't go in and put your information on there. I'll let you do that. But I'll send you what I got and let you take a look at that. Absolutely. All right. Anybody else? No, everybody's kind of quiet today then, huh? Got their questions answers, getting ready to get their squatter farms. Fortunately, I think our area is not too bad on a lot of that. I know there is a lot of that going on. I know at the housing coalition that we go to every couple months, they were talking about some of the different encampments and some of the, I guess that's what they call them, different places where people are putting up tents in St. Louis. One of the things I liked is they were I was trying to find out more information, but on the tiny houses, and they have not gotten back with me on that. Apparently that they've had some pretty good luck with some of that kind of stuff. Because I have a lot of ideas on some of the tiny homes, because we do a lot of building and camping lots, and a lot of times you can get those little, in fact, we bought them before, those little, like you see, I call them sheds or wooden tents, I call them. And, they just basically, but they're good roofs. They don't leak. They're just smaller. And you can actually fix those up to live in those things too. As I know we slept in one for 15, 20 years on the weekends now and then. And if you add plumbing and electric, you basically, you can actually put in some drywall and all kinds of stuff. You could actually make them into nice little homes. And I was thinking, that would be probably a good way for a lot of people that can't afford a lot. And if you do some of the stuff like we've done too, you just finance them to them. We've had a lot of these lots that we finance to people, and they put their own little sheds and things on them, which I think is a better way to go, because then you still own the land, but you don't have to deal with in some cases, associations and some of the regulations and municipalities. So, let the homeowner do that. So that's just something that I like to do. But I see Stacy joined us. She's on the coalition too, which we were just talking about there. Good to see you. Any videos lately, Stacy?
No, I need to do some. I've been sick this week, and it's been a hectic week in my household. My husband was sick too. My son's daycare canceled because they had a lice breakout. He never got it, thank the Lord, but it's been a hectic week. Hopefully I can get videos done next week though.
Yeah, maybe you could take our little faces off of one of these Zoom meetings and make us dance around too. Those are, if you haven't watched any of Stacy's videos, they're very entertaining. She does a really good job with those.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wish you all well in your household. I know that's no fun when everybody gets sick. Never had a light breakout, but wish your son's daycare well too, because that's
Thank you. They're all back in the swing of things now. We had to take them to Hannibal to drop them off at my mom's. So
Oh my.
it's
Oh, wow.
it's just been busy. So yeah, but I think everyone's on the up and up. So we'll see how the next week goes.
Well, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me, John?
Yeah, Bruce.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never know whether it works or not here. I guess there was 2 or 3 things, if I don't forget them. I guess since last week, Dave probably hasn't heard anything about the CTA, any updates. And I think I don't know whether David said it, that Holly apparently doesn't have much incentive to help people who have less than 20 employees, like Dave was looking for more employees, uh, to meet the minimum requirement, the CTA being the Corporate Transparency Act, where people have to send info off to FinCEN. And I think you said you'd already done it, John. If they have LLCs or corporations, I think somebody had stated about 6 months ago, and this was a lawyer, that if it's a family trust, you may not have to worry about that. But I don't know that anybody a legal person has actually said you do not have to worry about that. As far as the COVID, Stacy's mentioned people being sick. Apparently it's been going up in the area here for about 2 months. It's not as bad, obviously, as 4 years ago or whatever. But if people are in the prefer to be vaccinated system, apparently the COVID vaccines are available now in our area. I talked to my CVS and they said they had it, and they also had the flu, but I think the CDC says it's better to wait till the last 2 weeks of September or the first 2 weeks of October to get the flu vaccine. That way it helps cover you through maybe February, because January and February are more colder months where people congregate together more, so it would be more effective for what that's worth. So just my PSA or public service announcement for the day.
Thank you, Bruce.
Hi, John. It's Ann. I do have a question. I was trying to see, since we have some CPAs on the call, does anyone know how to file the self-employment tax credit? Is there like a specific way to do that, or can you do that through the IRS.gov?
Well, I don't know, Ann. Does anybody know that? That would be a question probably for your personal CPA, because I know one size really doesn't fit all. So I don't know. Does anybody have any thoughts on that?
Is it I've heard that you're supposed to be, if you were self-employed in 20 and 21, that you can file for a self-employment tax credit. And, but the person that told me didn't really know how to do it. So that's crazy.
Well, we do have some CPAs coming to our September meeting. You may want to see if you can come to that, and you might be able to ask them.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Yeah, my experience with taxes is one size does not fit all, and you just have to find out what it is for you. All right, anybody else have any thoughts on that or anything else? No? All right, well, I personally don't have anything else to say today. I know we talked about a few things. It's good to have, if anybody does want that squatter farm that Kathy talked about, let me know. That's for the city of St. Louis. And then she said there's one on the county website that's similar. Again, you could always reach Kathy, though. Their office is so good about helping with everything. Let me get their number. I'll just put that out there. Let's see. Yeah, their telephone number, if anybody would wants to know anything about the squatters bill she talked about the forms or evictions and just in general. I know you, Linda, you asked about that. You may even want to give them a call, and it doesn't matter if it's city, county, or even in some of the surrounding counties, because I know Chris Bosler goes to a lot of the outlying counties, but their phone number is 314-962-1115. And they have somebody to answer the phone, usually live, but if not, they will give you their, the extension to press too. So they're really about the best ones in the area. They're really good about helping us too. I know they gave us the model leases. So if you have any questions on leases, I can give you what they shared with us. It's always best to have that stuff done ahead of time. It's not one of those where you'd rather ask for forgiveness after the fact. You want to get it right before you get into there. And especially like the waiver of the trial, jury trial and all that kind of stuff, because there's some clauses that could make all the difference on getting your property done right. Because my experience is with evictions, they usually don't go well, and your property does not get better the longer they're there. That's just my personal experience. Somebody else might have different experiences, but I've never heard those stories where they actually your property was better than it was when you started the eviction process. So, but that's some stuff to find out ahead of time. So yeah, if Kathy's always real gracious about coming here, and this is one reason we still meet here on Fridays is because of her. Because when all the stuff first started back at, like I said, this is our 232nd consecutive Friday meeting, which is pretty good. We're in our 5th year, and we don't have any plans on quitting anytime soon. I know. A lot of us have gotten a lot of deals here, but we've also gotten some good recommendations. Like Laura said at the beginning, we don't personally recommend anybody. We do have a disclaimer because everybody needs to do their own due diligence, but this is a great source right here. And we've had people from, we got members now in our group from 16 states. And also we have some from around the country. We've had people, around the world. We've had people from the UK. We've had people from India. We've had people from New Zealand and also Australia. One of the things I like about talking to the people from Australia and New Zealand, and some of my other groups too, is we know the world is not going to end by tomorrow. I was on the call today, or last night actually, Thursday night for us, and it was already Friday morning in Australia, so I knew we got at least another day. That didn't mean I personally have one, but that means the world does. So I always laugh and joke about that. But it's good to see a different perspective from different people. And it's amazing how many people end up having rental properties and just investment properties in the St. Louis area. So I know we have a great area here, and a lot of people invest here. I've actually gotten some deals from people because they didn't know the area, but that's one thing that's nice about us meeting here is you can find out about the area before you invest. So talk to people like Stacy and Dave Soto that know the area and know the different, because from neighborhood to neighborhood, it makes all the difference. It's night and day. And, we looked at a lot of properties in St. Louis, and I've owned a bunch of them over the years, but you can go in fact, we looked at some last year. We were looking at doing a bus tour, which never materialized, and we still may do that. But there was these, $400,000 or $500,000 houses back behind Delmar there. And then the next block over, it looked like, they just blew it up, with bombs or something. And 2 blocks away, you probably wouldn't want to leave your car unlocked. But yet that neighborhood was like a luxury neighborhood right there. So you just don't know, when you're out of town, except when you meet with people like, that are from the area like us here. So anyway, we're happy that we have this platform to meet every week. We will be meeting next week for our 233rd consecutive meeting, if all goes well. I'll let you know Thursday night if the people in Australia are still there on Friday morning. So. All right. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share with us today? All right. Well, if not, I guess we could wrap it up just a few minutes early today. A lot of good stuff coming up. Hopefully everybody's getting their their Q3 goals completed? If not, you got a couple more weeks, but you don't have long. We've already got a sharp month with the holiday and all that. And
Hey, John.
yes, sir.
Another thing in October I'll be talking about too that's highly unusual on short sales is 30%, 1/3 of all the short sales are with dead people.
Wow.
So if you're one of your investment styles, I mean, if you're smart, you'll just buy from wholesalers. But if you're going to pick a way to buy houses, you can do probate, you can do free and clear, you can do tired land, lots of ways to buy houses, and that's all short sale is. However, the probate, the deceased people, they are now 1/3 of my short sales. So people that got COVID died. Okay. And these houses have been paid by their sons and daughters for a while until they couldn't do that anymore. And now they're being foreclosed on. And you can absolutely do a short sale with a probate, with a deceased person. There's a couple steps I'll outline in the October meeting. But you absolutely can pick right up with them and do a short sale with those people.
I got a question on that, David. Do they ever, Dale Sweet last month talked about a little bit about quiet titles and that, is there any situations that you run into where the dead people do not have any heirs? And I just wondered, would that require like a, I don't know, quiet title or anything like that? Or is that very common or not?
Yeah, I mean, you could steal the house. So, I'll even talk about that in October. Now I use that word steal in a relative term. Obviously, I don't want to get put in jail, but the point is that I'll outline in October what do you do on a house where the homeowners died and it did not go through probate. Okay. And so now it's titled in the deceased person, but there was no will and no probate. And there's a way to legally steal the house. And I'll talk about that in October. And so if there are no heirs, you might be able to adapt that process. But, like I said, I'll talk about in October, the steps that let you do that and everything. Obviously, there's certain Missouri law that overrides certain factors, but there is actually a way to change the title on the house real easily. It's quite interesting. So I kind of had to do this about 2 or 3 years ago, and now, like I said, 20 to 30%. I mean, half of our short sales are with people with a loan in 22 and 23, and dead people. It's just kind of crazy. Both of those statistics were less than 5% of your short sales. So there's a whole lot of these, and that's really what I'm excited about. In October to be able to show you how to do those. With it. But John, we'll see if we can find a way for you to get everyone else's house who doesn't have an heir. Okay. Okay. So we'll see if we can get you a bunch of houses in the October meeting.
Sounds great, David. Great information coming up here, it sounds like, and look forward to that. That's October 15th. So be sure to mark your calendars. And then on the 17th of this month, which is looks like a week after next, we do have Cost Segregation Authority, and they're coming in town from Utah. So that'll be a fascinating meeting. We got a couple of good things coming up. Already looking at our last quarter of the year, which is amazing to me how quick this year has gone. And actually the last few years, I didn't realize it was 5 years since you talked, David, till we got to looking at our calendar the other day. And I know when we reached out, I was like, oh my gosh, has it been that long? So the last few years have gone by quickly. So a lot of changes, a lot of good things, a lot of interesting things, but that's one reason we like to stay together, because we can stay up on all this stuff. And education is huge. Invest in yourself first. That's what I always say. I get people all the time saying, well, what should I buy? Should I buy a rental property? Should I try wholesaling or whatever? It's like, well, you know what? First, invest in yourself. Get a little bit of education, see what you want to do, see what goes with your personality, because everybody's personality is different. And I know I wish I would have kind of had that advice when I first started, because I was just out there and I said, I want to do what he does. I met this guy that he was in his 80s that had over 500 rental properties. I said, I want to be like him. Well, I went from my 7-day-a-week job as a mortgage broker to 8 days a week being a landlord. And I did about half of them myself and about half of them with a management company. And I had only 36 rental properties. It was a nightmare for me, but I didn't know what I was doing, and that didn't fit with what I my personality was necessarily. So first thing, my first advice is learn as much as you can. And I always try to learn everything anyway. Doesn't mean you want to do it though. I mean, I like to know that what a roof's going to cost and what goes in, you know, what's involved with putting it up there, but I'm not going to crawl up in the ladder anymore. But I still want to know about it. I don't want to just blindly tell somebody to do it. And it's like that with everything though, as far as what I can see. So education's huge, and that's why we meet. And we'll look forward to you telling us about the shard sales, David, in October. That'll be very interesting, and I'm looking forward to it. Anybody else got anything today? Had a lot of good conversations. Get your squatters farms. Hopefully our group doesn't need a lot of them. If you were, you know, if you were around us for a while and you've been listening to Kathy, you probably don't have that problem, but you never know. Or if you use somebody really good like Dave or Stacy, you'll know that you're not going to be having that squatter problem too. So that's just, but that's all stuff we need to know. And a lot of times we don't know it till we don't know it, till it happens. So, but we can all learn through each other, and together we can all, pretty much get what we want and where we want to go. And that's by networking and meeting. So. All right. Anybody else have anything today?
Yeah, John, I just remembered you had sent out an email about people going to the STLREIA National Conference the end of October and 1st of November. And I think you had said it was like, I don't know, $492 or something like that. You might be able to join the REIA GC, that is the Real Estate Investment Association of Greater Cincinnati, even for $25 a month. They have a membership fee. I think it's 200 something for a yearly membership. And if you're a member, even for a month, you might be able to get a good discount on that 492 or whatever, if somebody else was thinking of going there. I think I signed up through the radio, WMKV. Vina has her weekly real life real estate program on there at like 4 o'clock our time every Wednesday, although somebody else is doing the talking most of the time. And she had a pledge drive, which I don't know if it still works. I think they were supposed to finish it the beginning of this month, but you might be able to go there and even get it for $100 off there by pledging like 192 to the radio station. And then and then they automatically give you a ticket to the STLREIA thing the end of October, 1st of November. I think I've got one, but I'm basically just planning on watching all the videos because I don't know that I can make it there. But if anybody was thinking about that, they might want to go either of those two routes to try to save some money.
Yeah, thank you, Bruce. Yeah, I think it's actually $247, I believe, without being a member. And then what you're talking about with the recordings, there's some kind of VIP upgrade. I know Laura and I are going, but one thing pretty interesting, they have, they had a block of rooms, but Laura went ahead and signed us up for, I don't know what it would say, got a fireplace suite and all kinds of stuff there. And it was like 300, I don't know, $380 or something a night. But then she called and they gave us the block rate and we got to keep the same room, which was very interesting. So if you just call about the block rate of the room, I think it was about 180 or 190 a night. Of course, they have a lot of other stuff there. And that's at the Wolf Lodge, which is very interesting too, because that's pretty much a family place. But I forgot how many speakers they're going to have there. It's like 30 speakers over a few days, and it's some of the top people in the country. So that's it'd be a great event. If I did send out a thing on it to my list, and it's going to be David said looking for a carpool. That's another idea too. But that's they put that on I don't know what year they're in now, about the 30th year or something like that of doing it every year. And they've never taken off. And it's, it's some of the top people in the country. So it's always good for education. It's a lot of good people there. So.
Yeah. And next Monday is the monthly meeting at Applebee's, since we postponed last Monday because of the holiday.
Yep, another good point too. Yeah, Applebee's, that's on Olive and 270. All right. Anybody else got anything today? It's a lot of good conversations, a lot of good stuff. If you want that, Squatters Farm, send me an email. Otherwise, I guess we'll look forward to seeing you next week for our 233rd episode meeting. So, all right. Well, thanks for joining everybody, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.